Hello everybody, this is Funny Toe Bobby. Welcome to race number 16 of the 2020-21 NROL Siemens Nash Series season. This is the Everett Auto Parts 400 at Seekonk Speedway. After the non-stop field that we saw yesterday, I can't wait to see what's in store today. Since this is a short track, only a limited number of drivers can race. For this track, the limit has been capped at 28, so some drivers will have to go home early. So here's the event format. We'll start with 4 heat races. In each one, the bottom few finishers will go to the C main, then the next 4 finishers will go to the B main, and the top 5 finishers will advance straight to the A main. The winner of each heat race will earn 5 championship points. Once the heat races are done, we will then run the C main. The top 4 finishers in the C main will advance to the B main, and the winner will earn 1 championship point. Then will come the B main, where the top 8 finishers will advance to the A main, and the winner of that race will earn 3 championship points. Then the main event will commence. So, let's start. Here we go for heat race number 1 of the Siemens National Series at the Seekonk Speedway. So let's get starting good for this first race. So on the pole for this one is Anthony Alfredo. Almost the second is Cody Goforth. Third is Texas. Fourth is John Doe. Fifth is Hugo Expos. Sixth is Ross Chastain. Seventh is Priya McShane. Eighth is Tyler Tomasi. Ninth is Hende. 10th is Ryan Sieg. And 11th is Brandon Jones. Okay. So we actually have 3 Tobal Motorsports cars in this race, something I didn't really realize when I was setting up this roster, but yeah, 3 Tobal Motorsports cars in 1 heat race. Well, luckily they're on the inside lane, so let's see if they can make the race right off the bat. Alright, pace car pulling under, and green flag is in the air for heat race number 1 at Seekonk Speedway. Cody Goforth getting a flying start. Texas on the inside as well, getting there, and Hubi Lexipulse trying to make it 3 wide for second. And Hubi Lexipulse now goes to the lead, or no, to second, I mean. Alright, Hubi Lexipulse. Been a little while since I talked about him. He's been up there in the point standings, but at the same time, he hasn't done anything particularly notable in recent times. Well, for that changes today, as here he is falling behind Cody Goforth, trying to get to the lead. And luckily all 3 Tobal Motorsports cars are actually above the final train spot for the A main. Now if only they could just stay there, Tyler Tomasi making his way up to the field. Bit of a home race for Tyler Tomasi. He raced here quite regularly back in his late model days. Now here he is in the Siemens Nash, like a regular race, but he's going to make it 3 wide though. Hubi Lexipulse gets shoved all the way to the high line. And John Doe trying to make it 3 wide, go all the way to the high line. Now, here comes Priya McShane also trying to make it 3 wide, and Priya McShane is just going to go right to the lead here as Cody Goforth now goes high, and Priya McShane now goes all the way to the lead here. Priya McShane, who hasn't really done much as of recent. Here comes Texas as well, make it 4 wide for second place, and Texas goes all the way up to third. Lots of stuff going on here. This is quite the race here. And Texas up second. Here comes Ross Chastain to go beneath Texas. And Ross Chastain up to second place. And here he is trying to find a way around Priya McShane. A couple of drivers very low in the point standings. But Ross Chastain now moves his way up to first place. And here comes Hubi Lexipulse here as well. Hubi Lexipulse trying to make his way up to the lead here. And now both the Tobal Motorsports rookies actually doing pretty well with staying up here in the top 5 to make the race here. Texas, though, meanwhile on the cut line to make it into the A main. 5 laps to go. No, 6 laps to go. Many laps to go. As Hubi Lexipulse is now up to the lead here, and here is Tyler Tomasi not too far behind. 5 more laps to go now. 5 laps to determine what is going to happen in this race. Because man, even this short little heat race has thrown up quite the wild card here. And here is Tyler Tomasi now trying to stay into the top 5, because of course top 5 drivers do make it into the A main. And here comes Brandon Jones, who's now using what he learned in yesterday's truck race to now actually do pretty well today. Look at that, top 5, 3 laps to go, though Anthony Alfredo is going to take the lead here from Hubi Lexipulse. Anthony Alfredo, a part-time driver. And of course, winner does score 5 points, unless of course they are a part-time driver. Anthony Alfredo, a part-timer running for Richards Racing, with 2 laps to go, looking like he's going to get his first win thingy of the year. And right now, Tyler Tomasi, though, in a pretty dangerous position now. He's actually outside of the cut line with 2 laps to go. He's going to have to really put the pedal to the metal if he wants to make it. Meanwhile, Texas, however, in a safer spot. 1 more lap to go in this race. And Anthony Alfredo, obviously Anthony Alfredo, a part-timer that I haven't talked about too much this year, but he is not going to do pretty well today. Anthony Alfredo wins heat race number 1 at the Seekonk Speedway. With Freddie McShane, the final driver on the transfer spot, Tyler Tomasi fell off like a rock after that. Okay, well that's interesting. Right, so that concludes that race. So your winner of the race is Anthony Alfredo, and second place, of course, Brandon Jones somehow. And third is Texas, fourth is Hubert Expos, and fifth is Freddie McShane. All those guys will be going straight to the A main. So hey, Brandon Jones 2 days in a row is going to make the A main in a race. With Cody Goforth in 6th, John Doe 7th, Todd Smiles, and Nathan Rothstein in 9th. Those guys will be going to the B main, and then you have Ryan Sieg in 10th and Hendon 11th, who will have to go to the C main. Okay, not a bad day though for some of these guys, and we should see how they do later on in the upcoming races. But up next is heat race number 2. Alright, time for heat race number 2 at the Seekonk Speedway. Let's keep starting for this one. So in the pole for this one is Fernando Bobbin. So second is Anthony Logan. Third is Justin Haley. Fourth is Keisha Richardson. Fifth is Nathan Mon. Sixth is Jed Burton. Seventh is Jose Mills. Eighth is Austin Murray. Ninth is Bob Hunter. 10th is Edward. And 11th is Myatt Snyder. Alright, so only one Toban Motorsports in this this race happens to be Fernando Bobbin himself. Now Fernando Bobbin figured that he was going to run the Seekonk Speedway races his third race, his 3 out of 4 races in the Siemens National Series. Decided to go for Seekonk because he hasn't won a race in a little while. He's extra to fall back in the point standings, so Fernando Bobbin trying to get a little bit more experience by racing in the Siemens National Series race here. And green flag is in the air for heat race number 2. And Fernando Bobbin now getting out to the lead. Fernando Bobbin, of course, the most experienced drivers of all of these, so wouldn't be really surprised if he led all these laps. Keisha Richardson, now for your last week's winner, actually doing somewhat well at challenging Fernando Bobbin. And Keyshawn Richardson is going to go to the lead in heat race number 2. Here comes Nathan Amon, who for some reason wasn't quite there at last week's race. Here's trying to make up, though, for that fall from last week. And here's Austin Murray as well, moving up here. And Fernando Bobbin, ooh, he's starting to lose out here. He's going to have to pick up the pace a little bit. Yeah, Fernando Bobbin trying to learn some things in this race in order to apply that to the A main. We'll see how that goes, though. And Nathan Mon now side-by-side battle with Keyshawn Richardson. A couple previous winners from this season now doing battle. Looks like Nathan Mon, though, is going to get the better of him. Here comes Austin Murray to try to get around, though. But Nathan Mon going to lead them off for the time being. Here comes Austin Murray now in second. And he might try to perform the overtake on Nathan Amond here. Very interesting stuff going for the lead. And Austin Murray gonna go beneath Nathan Amond. And Nathan Amond and getting succeeded by Austin Murray, and Austin Murray now to the lead at Seekonk Speedway. You know, Anthony Alfredo over number 21 car in just the previous race. Better than we were expecting. Here's Austin Murray now going to do the same. But here comes Ed Wood. Ed Wood, a driver that I really haven't talked about much this season. Here's Ed Wood trying to challenge Austin Murray for the lead. And here is Justin Haley in a battle with Nathan Mon. And Fernando Bobbin was falling out by like a bit of a rock here. Now making him back up to the pack here. As Justin Haley now moves up to third. And Fernando Bobbin also going to try to put an overtake on Nathan Amond here. Meanwhile, for the lead here, also Murray doing a pretty decent jump here at pulling a bit of a gap on Ed Wood. And Austin Murray, with 3 laps to go, is in the lead. Meanwhile, Bobbin likes past Nathan Amond for second, now trying to, or Nathan Amond for fourth, now trying to pass Justin Haley for third. And while that, there's a pretty interesting battle going for the lead. 2 laps to go. Justin Haley takes the lead. Or no, takes third. But here comes Fernando Bobbin trying to get around him for third place. One more lap to go. Frank Bobbin into third. That's like Edward, though, is not going to have anything for Austin Murray. And Austin Murray, another 21 car, will win a heat race and will win heat race number 2 at the Seekonk Speedway. Meanwhile, Edward comes on with second, and Frank Bobbin comes on with third in this one. Very interesting results. So to give you your finishing standings for this race, Austin Murray comes on with the win, Edward at second, Frank Bobbin at third, Nathan Mon fourth. And just nearly in the top 5, those guys will move on to the A main with Anthony Logan at 6th, Jed Bird 7th, Jose Mills at 8th, and Bob Warner 9th. Those guys going to the B main. Still respectable effort. And Keisha Richardson in 10th, who fell all the way back down there. Wow, Keisha Richardson, he was up there, was going to fall all the way back down to 10th, and we'll have to go to the C main with Mike Snyder. Okay, well that concludes heat race number 2. Time to bring on heat race number 3. Alright, heat race number 3 time. So, give you a starting grid. Starting the pole for this one is Sebastian Ciclon. Last second is Austin Cindric. Third is Michael Lynette. Fourth is Matthew Brown. Fifth is DJ Reed. Sixth is Casey Nico. Seventh is Shane Lamb. Eighth is Chase Briscoe. Ninth is Mitch Bronson. And 10th is Can't Drive. Alright. So we've seen 2 very interesting races so far today. Now the question is, what will we see in this race? Alright, well you can see the whole field in the frame, funnily enough. Alright, pace car pulls off, and green flag is in the air for heat race number 3. Cindric gets a bit of a flying start. And Matthew Brown now goes up into second in a battle with Sebastian Ciclon. And Matthew Brown now up into second. Matthew Brown, he was up there for a bit, but he's now trying to put up a consistent run ever since his run in Australia. And now it seems actually he's back for a second good row, trying to really put the pedal to the metal. As here is Matthew Brown, now trying to get into battle with Austin Cindric. He's got a couple of previous winners going out for each other. And Matthew Brown still challenging Austin Cindric. Or maybe not. I mean, to be fair, this is all they really need to do if they want to get to the A main. They're all in the top 5. Chase Briscoe is falling off like a rock at the point stand. He's trying to bounce back. Well, he can at least have a shot at bouncing back if he can get straight to the A main. Here we go, lead change about to occur as Matthew Brown and others surge beneath Austin Cindric. And Matthew Brown now to the lead. Oh, DJ Reed though, trying to look behind him. Austin Cindric actually tucking in for a position. Austin Cindric actually going to do a bit of a crossover move on DJ Reed. And Austin Cindric now up to second. Matthew Brownlow doing a pretty solid job at keeping his lead. For some of the low wall, the driver actually be consistent when running up front. But Austin Cindric though, not backing down. These are 2 previous winners on the season, going after each other. But Matthew Brown doing everything in his power to keep that lead. Here's Chase Briscoe up here as well. Nice to see him run up front. Meanwhile, the race for the cutoff spot is actually pretty far out. DJ Reed actually now on the cut line, the final transfer spot. 4 laps to go. Here comes Can't Drive. First time I've seen him today. Was only in this one heat race. Drivers having to get around him pretty quickly. Looks like they will. Can't Drive's going to go right to the high line, and the top 3 are going to go right around him with absolutely no problems at all. Matthew Brown still in the lead, but Austin Cindric, there he goes. Austin Cindric with the move for the lead. And Austin Cindric is going to put the overtake on Matthew Brown. 2 laps to go. Chase Briscoe as well going to make an extra move on Matthew Brown. Of course, these guys quite a ways in front of the pack, so this isn't going to affect much. It will affect the race, who gets 5 bonus points. And Austin Cindric, 1 more lap to go. Austin Cindric now in a position to earn some championship, or some bonus championship points. Half left to go. Matthew Brown gonna make a move back on Chase Briscoe, and it looks like he will, but Austin Cedric will win Heat Race number 3 at Seekonk Speedway. Alright, was a little bit more tame, which is probably for the better, as these action-packed races can cause quite a bit of action and stuff. And action's not the it's the sausage kind of action. Right, so your official standings of the race is all started with the win, Matthew Brown in second, Chase Briscoe in third, DJ Reed in fourth, and Sebastian Caculon. Those will be the top 5 who make it straight to the game. Then you got Michael Lynn at 6th, Casey Nico 7th, Mitch Bronson 8th, and Shane Lemon 9th. Those guys will go to the B main, and Can't Drive is going to go to the C main. I mean, that's not really a surprise though. At this point, it was this race was pretty much just a race against the A main or the C main, as you were pretty much locked into one of those two races, and at least in this one, as Can't Drive was going to go to the C main, which is absolutely unsurprising. Alright, well, hopefully the next race, though, will have more surprising results, as it is time to bring on Heat Race number 4. And here we go for Heat Race number 4, the 4th and final Heat Race of the day. So, starting on the pole for this one is Noah Gregson, also second is Greg Graff, third is Decker Fitzwater Sr., fourth is Justin Allgaier, fifth is Harrison Burton, sixth is Dan Blue, seventh is Russell David, eighth is Kana, ninth is Ernie Everett, and 10th is Riley Herbst. And yes, that is right, Kana is on the field today. Kana is back. Yes. So Kana making a return to the NROL leagues. And starting off with the Siemens National Series race today. Let's hope Kana can have a better showing than what she showed in her first weekend at Daytona. And green flag is in there for race number 4. Greg Graff getting the launch off of the start. And here is Justin Allgaier, Harrison Burton, and others dancing and stuff. And here is Justin Allgaier. Alright, trying to make a pass on Greg Graff. And Justin Allgaier to the lead. And here is Harrison Burton trying to go up in a second. And here is Kana. Kana, first time we've really seen her race. Here she is trying to make her way up to the field. But Justin Allgaier holding the lead for the time being. But there's a Burton behind. There's a Burton, we haven't seen much out of him this season. And here is Ernie Irvin, who has moved up to 4th. And Riley Herbst up to 5th now. Wow, these slower guys, they're underdogs, they're actually getting up on the guys behind. Allgaier leads for now. They feel like they're going to rage on now, but behind. Russell David Driver hasn't had much success this season, now trying to get into the A main. Although, he is playing a bit of an interesting strategy, being back here this soon. Because that's going to give him... Because, wait, if he waits long enough, he will get up to the field and still be there by the time second flag flies. Meanwhile, Riley Herbst still having his own battle with Ernie Irvin, and Ernie Irvin goes high, which will allow Russell David to go low. Meanwhile, let's see a bit of a lead change here as Harrison Burton trying to keep up with Justin Allgaier. And Harrison Burton now trying to keep up with Justin Allgaier. And Russell David now trying to get into the top 5. I was about with Damon Blue though. And here is Kana. She's a little bit disappointing at start. Gonna have to try a bit harder than that. But the battle for lead, however, is quite impressive. As here is Harrison Burton trying to chase down Justin Allgaier. 4 laps to go. Couple of non-winners this season trying to become winners. Harrison Burton trying to find a way underneath Justin Allgaier. 3 laps to go. And Harrison Burton now gets underneath Justin Allgaier. And Harrison Burton with the overtake for the lead. We have 2 laps to go this time by. And Harrison Burton pulls out on Justin Allgaier. And right now, Damon Blue is the driver in the final transfer spot. 1 lap to go in the key race number 4. And Harrison Burton is going to come to the line and will win key race number 4 at Seekonk Speedway. Harrison Burton, a pretty good showing early on in this race. Nice. Well, there you go. Rather interesting race for some rather interesting reasons. But Harrison Burton comes to win with just another guy in second. Greg Graff in third. Riley Herbst somehow in fourth. And David Blue rounds up the top 5. And as the last 4 drivers level faster to the A main. Meanwhile, in 60, I have Zach Fitzgerald Sr., Russell David in 7th, Doug Gregson, Nathan Kana in 9th. And Kana almost actually got demoted all the way down to the C main, but luckily that will go to Ernie Irvin. Well, I say luckily. Ernie Irvin probably not happy to be all the way down on C main, but it was probably to be expected. So Ernie Irvin in the C main, but Kana was very close. You know, Kana, we hype her up a little bit. You know, we're excited for Kana, but Kana almost fell all the way back down to the C main, and that is something that you don't really want to happen to, especially if you're a driver with a lot of hype. So Kana in 9th, Kana will at least race in the B main, and well, here's to seeing if she'll at least be able to make it out of that race. But next up is the C main, as that concludes all of the heat racing for today. So yeah, like I said, C main race is about to commence. Alright, it's now C-Main time at Seekonk Speedway, so your grid for this one is actually pretty small. So on the pole for this one, Henry Alonso, second is Keisha Richardson, third is Ryan Sieg, fourth is Ernie Irvin, fifth is Mike Snyder, and sixth is Can't Drive. Right. So 6 drivers, well, or some might say 5 drivers and Can't Drive. So it's going to be interesting. Who's going to be the top 4 drivers that make it into the race? Because Can't Drive was always going to be a slouch. But then you have the guy who's probably fighting for life just to make up 1 spot to make it into the A main, or to the B main. But we would have found a bit as green flag is underway for the C main. Drivers immediately pulling away from Can't Drive. And Ryan said, I can't believe your points leader is now on the verge of not making this race. Ryan Sieg got to do a little bit better than this. Mike Snyder, though, doing a pretty good job at challenging for these guys. Or with these guys. And Henry now acts the one who might get the boot from this race. And Keyshawn Richardson, the winner from last week, trying not to be a disappointment this week. As Keisha Richardson is in the lead, and Ernie Irvin. Ernie Irvin has never really won something. Might try to win something today. But of course, you don't have to finish top 4. So Ryan Sieg points it, though. I'm sure Ryan Sieg wants to be a little bit more impressive than this. As Ryan Sieg, I mean, it's amazing that your points leader is now suddenly all the way back down. So let's hope we can impress here. He's now been about to engage in battle with Keisha Richardson. Meanwhile, Mike Snyder in battle with Ernie Irvin and Hennam. Right now, the driver most likely might not make the race, or to not go on. As Ryan Sieg with the pass now on Keisha Richardson. It's amazing. Ryan Sieg is the points, and yet he hasn't won a race yet this season. Still getting pretty spread out now. Here comes Henne. Henne hasn't had the best season. And now he's trying to really improve on his season here by finishing in the top 4. Now he's about to make the pass on Mike Snyder. And Hendon with the pass on Snyder. Ryan Sieg now pulling out to a pretty decent distance on Keyshawn Richardson. And Mike Snyder now in the final transfer spot, trying to hold off Ernie Irvin. Ernie Irvin not giving up though. As Ernie Irvin now goes back around Mike Snyder. Here comes Can't Drive, but the driver's likely not going to be able to, well, not going to play with him too much. Hopefully Can't Drive will move all the way as leaders. Oh, no. Okay, Ryan Sieg is going to go all the way to the outside lane. And Henne, who was all the way at the back, is now trying to make his way up to the front. As now Ryan Sieg Going left, lots of things happening here. 4 wide now. 4 wide sausage occurring. As Keyshawn Richardson now in a side-by-side battle with Henne. And Ryan Sieg had the lead there. Might lose out here. He's in 4th though. So Ryan Sieg doing a decent job here. Still like keeping his ground. Now he's going to make one back up on Ernie Irvin. And Keisha Richardson now trying to find a way around Henne. Henne, who really hasn't won anything though. Henne, probably the one who needs this championship point the most out of all these drivers. Right now he's under fire from Keisha Richardson. You know, it's quite interesting that I'm able to talk about Keisha Richardson this much, at least in this race. You know, after I barely talked about him at all in last week's race, and then he won that. So 2 laps to go in this race, still trading positions though for 4th. Looks like it's not going to be too important, as here is Mike Snyder's all the way back here. With 2 laps to go, doesn't look like Mike Snyder is going to be able to actually keep up with these guys. As here is Ryan Sieg now about to get by, once again, 1 lap to go in the C main. Keisha Richardson has the lead. And is staying ahead of Henne. And Keisha Richardson going to win the C main at Seekonk Speedway. And Ernie Irvin going to make the final transfer spot. Alright, well, that was a rather interesting race. They went 4 wide at one point. Can't believe we saw that on the C main from a 6-car field. Alrighty then. So the results for the race is Keisha Richardson first, Henne at 2nd, Ryan Sieg at 3rd, and Ernie Irvin 4th. Those guys will be able to progress on to the B main. Not really much of a challenge for those guys, but still good to do it nonetheless. Mine's not going to be the lone duck, though, who doesn't move on to the B main. And of course, can't drive, who of course doesn't make the B main, which is no surprise. Speaking of the B main, it's time for that to happen up next. Okay, so perhaps C race was a little bit puny, but it is now time for some B main racing where the field is a lot bigger and we have a lot more drivers who are going to really try to get into the main event. Last qualifying race. Let's see who is starting in this one. Turn the pool for this one is Keisha Richardson. 2nd is John Doe. 3rd is Ike Fitzwater Sr. 4th is Tom Tomasi. 5th is Anthony Logan. 6th is Ryan Sieg. 7th is Russell David. 8th is Casey Nico. 9th is Kana. 10th is Cody Goforth. 11th is Ross Chastain. 12th is Michael Lynette. 13th is Jeb Burton. 14th is Henne. 15th is Noah Gregson. 16th is Jose Mills. 17th is Bob Hunter. 18th is Shane Lamb. 19th is Mitch Bronson. And 20th is Ernie Irvin. Not 10th, 20th. Okay. Now, sure, the C main wasn't that competitive. There was only 1 car got left out, but now it is 8 and 20. That's right. Top 8 drivers are going to make it to the A main, but there is 20 drivers racing for those 8 spots. So, who will be those 8 drivers at the end of this race? Well, we're about to find out. Things are going to get pretty interesting here. Alright, pace car's going to pull off in just a moment. Feels banging. And green flag is in the air for the B main. Zachary Fitzwater Sr. about to try to get to the inside of Keyshawn Richardson. And here's Anthony Logan. Lots of stuff going on already. Here comes Casey Nanico as well, trying to get up here. And here is Kana, actually off to a decent start in this race. Here's Zachary Fitzwater Sr., however, trying to get around Keyshawn Richardson for the lead. And there he goes! Zachary Fitzwater Sr. makes his way around Keyshawn Richardson. And Zachary Fitzwater Sr. to the lead now. Meanwhile, some more battling here. Ryan Sieg. Now Ryan Sieg with the overtake on Anthony Logan. Here comes Tom Tomasi as well, moving up to the pack. Honestly, Tom Tomasi pretty much has to make this race. I mean, it's Seekonk Speedway. Tom's raced quite a bit here. So it only makes sense that he's in the Siemens next race. Or in a race in general. Meanwhile, battle for the lead between Zachary Fitzwater Sr. and Keyshawn Richardson. And Keyshawn Richardson back to the lead here in this race. And here is a couple of the guys that kind of want to make this race. Ryan Sieg And Tyler Tomasi working together to get up to the front. Now with an overtake on Nick Fitzwater Sr., although it's still pretty early on in the race. So, no one really knows what's going to happen between now and the finish. But Tyler Tomasi doing a pretty good job here. Tyler Tomasi could actually win this race. That'd be quite something. I mean, not as much something as it would be if he won the race itself, but even if he won the B-main, it would still be kind of special. And it's amazing. Tyler Tomasi still yet to win anything in the series, by the way. That's one thing that's a little bit alarming. As Phil and I just crashed into each other. We're now right about the halfway point in the season, and Tyler Tomasi still has yet to score a win. In fact, he's not really doing that well in the point standings. Maybe that can change today, though. And here is Bob Hunter, who has come out of I can't even speak properly. That's so exciting. Out of absolutely nowhere. And now he's like trying to challenge these guys for the lead. And Keisha Richardson, he's gonna slide up. But Tyler Tomasi might slide up a little bit here as well. Well, not quite 3 wide, but still a couple wide. And Bob Hunter, driving the Team Penske Ford Mustang, is now leading the race. Look at that. A generic car is now leading in a race. It is, I mean, it's a qualifying race, but still a race. What do you think, considering, oh no, Ernie Irvin is in this race, never mind, but still, sausages. Meanwhile, Noah Gragson up here as well. Noah Gragson, driver that I haven't talked about too much today. Noah Gragson up into 2nd place. And now, he's going to overtake Bob Hunter for the lead here. Rick, the driver who has won previously this season, although it was quite a while ago now. It dates back to Texas Motor Speedway, where he got his first win of the season. Tyler Tomasi falling back a little bit, but that's okay as long as you finish in the top 8. And Noah Gragson here doing a pretty decent job at keeping the lead. Anthony Logan, though, not giving up. Anthony Logan's still looking for redemption for his crazy strategy that he pulled that sand down. Of course, he still came second in that race, but it would have been nice to win. Of course, this race, the tire isn't even going to be a factor, so I won't be able to pull that strategy again, but let's hope we'll still pull something. As Jose Mills now moves way up to 2nd place. A couple Toyotas battling each other for position. Keisha Richardson trying to get up to Noah Gragson for the lead. And here he goes, Jose Mills to the lead here in the B main. And Tyler Tomasi still makes way through the pack, back up to 2nd. Tyler Tomasi in a home race has been very impressive today. This might honestly be the race where he gets his first win. Maybe. I don't want to jinx it just yet. And here's Ryan Sieg doing pretty well up here as well. I think it's very important that you have your points leader and your hometown hero in the main event. And right now they're going to overtake Keisha Richardson and now running 1-2 in this race. The hometown hero and the points leader now race each other in the B main of all races. Oh, looks like Ryan Sieg was going to succeed him for now. Ryan Sieg now to the lead here, as they're about to go 3 wide. Few Toyotas here. Here's Keisha Richardson, who I think was one of the drivers that followed back down to the C main, doing pretty well in this race to stay in close proximity of making the A main today. Anyways. But here goes Keisha Richardson, or Jose Mills beneath Keisha Richardson. As these two doing bound now for 2nd. Oh, Tyler Tomasi not a very good spot. Oh, he was just right up here. Now he's very close. He's actually in the final transfer spot. Oh no, Tyler Tomasi was so good. Okay, we're going to have to watch him a little bit here, as he's in a very, very, very vulnerable position for Michael Annett. Michael Annett doing everything to try to get around Tyler Tomasi, but Tyler Tomasi doing everything to defend his position. Here comes his technically teammate Russell David now trying to get around Tyler Tomasi. Russell David, who hasn't been able to catch a break this season, might have to just overtake his sort of teammate. to get into this one. Oh, man. Meanwhile, the race for the lead is still on. But I think the race from behind is actually still quite something, as now Keisha Richardson up, or no, Jose Mills up to the lead. Noah Gregson as well, now trying to get back up here. But honestly, I'm a little bit more interested in what's happening behind. But let's now stick to this battle for 4 more laps here. 4 laps to go in the B main. And Noah Gregson up here, and Brian Seeger points leader in a pretty safe spot as well. But Noah Gregson leader, here comes Jeb Burton. Jeb Burton, who was in the truck race just yesterday. Looks like he's going to make 2 races in a row, and he might try to make over the Jeb Burton now on the way to the inside lane. And Jeb Burton all the way to the inside lane with 2 laps to go in the B main. This race is absolutely spectacular. And Jeb Burton now up to the lead. Jeb Burton using what he learned yesterday's truck race to make another race on a part-time basis. Although right now he's under fire from his Junior Motorsports teammate of Noah Gregson. In fact, a couple few Junior Motorsports drivers up here. Ernie Everett up here as well. And Junior Motorsports with 1, 2, 3. But it comes down to Noah Gregson, who will win the B main at Seekonk Speedway. Wow. Junior Motorsports 1, 2, 3. Not something I didn't think we would see today. But of course, it is Noah Gregson who ultimately comes on with the W. Unfortunately for Tyler Tomasi, though, the hometown hero, I hyped him up a little bit. Maybe I got a little bit too excited about him. Unfortunately for Tyler Tomasi, he will not race in the A main itself. He looked pretty good in the B main, but unfortunately, man, a lot of people were excited for Tyler, but no, unfortunately, the hometown hero will not be able to do much better by racing in the A main. The B main will be the farthest that he gets tonight. And it's a bit of a shame because he was even in position at one point. In fact, at one point he was in a very good position, but unfortunately, he got stuck on the high line, fell back, and ultimately just couldn't. He just couldn't do it. He just wasn't fast enough. Right. Well, now for the rest of the video, we got Noah Gregson with the win, Jeb Burton in second, Ernie Irvin in third, Jose Mills in fourth, Russell David in fifth. So at least Russell David will be able to catch a break and will at least race in the A main. And Ryan Sieg as well, for points leader, will also be able to possibly improve his point position, and will race in the A main with 8th Logan in second, or 8th Logan 7th. And Jacob Fitzwater Sr. will round out the qualifiers in 8th. That is your top 8. Those are drivers that will move on to the main event itself. And considering the rest of the field, got John Doe in 9th, Michael Lynn at 10th, Makisha Richardson in 11th, Tyler Tomasi at 12th, Ross Chastain in 13th, Cody Goforth in 14th, and Kana in 15th. Wow, once again, Kana is not going to make a race. That is not very good for Kana. There's been all type around her, and once again, Kana not going to be able to participate in a main event. Right now, her only full race remains to Siemens actually at Daytona. That's kind of disappointing from Kana. Keith Shalinko comes on with 16th, Chilam 17th, Mitch Bronson 18th, Bompor 19th, and Hennes still got a DQ, but that's going to lead him to a 20th place finish. Okay, so that is enough of the B main. That is enough of qualifying. It is time to bring on the race itself, coming right up. Alrighty, we're actually recording this time. I forgot to hit the record button the first time. Qualifying race are complete, and it is time for main event itself. The main event itself. Siemens Naxos Series Racing at the Seekonk Speedway. This is the Everett Auto Parts 400. So let's waste no time to give you the starting grid for this race. So the pool for this one is Chase Briscoe, alongside in second is Freya McShane, third is Fernando Bobbin, fourth is Hugo Expulse, fifth is DJ Reed, sixth is Andy Alfredo, seventh is Justin Allgaier, eighth is Jed Burton, ninth is Dan Blue, 10th is Ed Wood, 11th is Austin Siddick, 12th is Austin Murray, 13th is Jose Mills, 14th is Patrick Gallant, 15th is Zach Fitzwater Sr., 16th is Nathan Mon, 17th is Brandon Jones, 18th is Texas, 19th is Justin Haley, 20th is Greg Graff, 21st is Ryan Sieg, 22nd is Noah Gregson, 23rd is Harrison Burton, 24th is Andy Logan, 25th is Matthew Brown, 26th is Russell David, 27th is Aaron Irvin, and 28th is Riley Herbst. Alrighty then. So, as my mouse is now being stupid. Okay, so I forgot to play the race. Okay, there we go. Now we're going. Okay. Alright, now, okay. Bit of a struggle to get this race going, but we're going now. Okay, recording, or racing. Enemies are firing up. Alright. Okay, cars are now rolling off. It is time for some Siemens National Series racing at the Seacock Speedway. And it will definitely be very interesting to see how this one ultimately turns out. So, Chase Briscoe leads, Bryn McShane second. Bryn McShane has had an atrocious season. Let's see if her season can turn around though today. As because that's a green flag is in the air for the Everett Auto Parts 400 at the Seacock Speedway. Chase Briscoe already getting out to a jump, and here is Fronito Bobbin as well, trying to get around Chase Briscoe. And it was pretty close for the lead, but Fronito Bobbin just barely inches out Chase Briscoe for the lead there. And Fronito Bobbin out to the lead in Seacock. Here's his teammate though, Hubi Lexenpulse. Ooh, Hubi Lexenpulse. This is his first time actually really racing Fronito Bobbin. And here is Jeb Burton now, making a loss of going on to start this race. Jeb Burton. A couple part-timers going after each other now. Jeb Burton, he actually did pretty well in yesterday's Truck Series race. Let's see how good he can do today in today's Siemens National Series race. Here comes Texas, another Bob Motorsports car trying to make his way up to the field. But Fronito Bobbin leads for now. Alright, of course, first marathon race of the day, so there'll be a lot more thing. Yeah. Gotta fix my mouse here. I did like just stuttering. Should have clicked on the white bar on the top. And yeah, Fronito Bobbin actually pulling out to a pretty decent lead here. Man, it's not. I'm surprised at how little we've seen Fronito Bobbin run well this season. I mean, he's actually ran 2 Siemens National Series races this year. Didn't really do that good in either of them. And here is at least running out in the lead to start this one. And here is Sebastian Kukulon now makes his way around Jeb Burton. Here comes Texodas. Texas is another driver that I've been able to count on very much this season. He actually ran pretty well in at the Papyrus Motorsports Park though. And now he's got another pretty good run today. Man, these two full-timers. Sebastian Kukulon and Free McShane actually getting spotted by a bunch of part-timers. Here comes Russell David. I mean, Russell David technically is winning all the races, well, at least winning all the races up until the playoffs. But, you know, still not competing for points. And Sebastian Kukulon into second. For some really spoken about Sebastian Kukulon, as he hasn't led, or he hasn't really been a good in since the season opener. Actually, that was his first win of the season, and the only race that he really looked any good. Well, for the moment, starting to set sail. These guys behind gonna have to catch up a little bit. And here is Russell David. Russell David in a race where points don't matter, and for once he's actually doing pretty well. Yeah, Russell David, of course, has started every single Siemens National race this year, so it's high time that we see Russell David be able to improve his driving. And he's now up to third. But Sebastian Kukulon right now in second, as they're trying to catch up to Fronito Bobbin. Fronito Bobbin has led every single lap to start this race. Comes with veteran experience. Also, this wouldn't be the first time the over 9,000 car goes to victory lane this season. As Bob Films took this car to victory lane earlier on at the Pensacola Road Course. And now here is Fronito Bobbin. Pretty dominant driver, actually. You know. Yeah, Fronito Bobbin actually had been doing too well in the point standings. Fell off after a couple bad races back in the Skittles Cup Series. So Fronito Bobbin trying to get some practice here today in preparations for tomorrow's Cup race. I know Fernando Alba's a driver with all that veteran experience, but sometimes the veteran experience lets you down a little bit. Here's Russell David, who's also running pretty decently today, trying to take down Sebastian Coquelin. Usually we see Russell David in 20s. In fact, it's honestly insane how often that Russell David finished in the 20s this season. Rarely has he had a very good finish, but really he's also had a very bad finish. So, I mean, he's consistent. It's not really consistent in a good way, but at least he's consistent running in the 20s. But not really acceptable for Tavon Motorsports, though. Of course, technically, Russell David a colleague racing driver for today, but still the Chevy team with some affiliations with Tavon Motorsports. The race is actually pretty tame for the lead up front. A lot more tame than the Truck Series race. It feels actually a lot more spread out. Yeah, most spread out that's actually been today. Even in all the races that we've had up to this point, you know, there's been some crazy action. But, well, I mean, this is amongst, well, I say, any race to this point, well, those races were all pretty short. This is, of course, a nice long race. So, there's still a lot of laps left to go. Meanwhile, Fernando Bobbin, this is actually the first time that's really dominated a Siemens National race. This is his third Siemens National race start of the year. And this is really the first one of those starts that's really looked really dominant. You know, he starts up front in the other couple races, then he falls back a bit. This race, however, starts up front, and now he's led every single lap ever since the white flag, oh my goodness, green flag came out. And meanwhile, drivers behind as well, pretty spread out. Here's Matthew Brown up here as well. Matthew Brown with another good run in a race. Matthew Brown, of course, the winningest driver in Australia. I wonder if that traffic is going to come into play here, though. Although, you know, I mean, I kind of expected Fernando Bobbin to pull out to this much of a distance, but as for the guys behind, I was expecting to be a lot closer, but now the field is the most spread out that's been all day in this race. I mean, again, this race is very long, but still. Anyway, so here is Russell David, now trying to chase down Sebastian Coquelin. And if Russell David can get up to Fernando Bobbin, this could be very interesting. The young rookie, well, depending on the rookie in the Siemens National Series, challenges his boss man for the win at one of Fernando Bobbin's home tracks. And here he comes. They've been running second and third all day, but here is Russell David about to make a pass on Sebastian Coquelin. And there he goes, Russell David to second at Seekonk Speedway. So I got a couple Cup drivers running in first and second. Not something that I've actually seen very often this season, surprising enough, but yeah, at least for this race, especially a race like this. Cup drivers running 1 and 2. Now Russell David fell behind trying to chase down Fernando Bobbin. They're gonna have to pick up the pace though, as Fernando Bobbin is starting to pull away. As I had some crunching of the wall for some reason. It's been a bit of a crash there. All Phil's gonna have to be careful. Cars, of course, have been turned off. Ooh, that could have been very dangerous. Yeah, as long as the intro we've turned off cars, that's to prevent some confusion and delay. But here it is, I can't believe in all things, a Siemens National Series race. A race where the top two aren't even earning any points. It is the battle for the lead between Fernando Bobbin and Russell David. It is the battle between friends, teammates. But let's see how these two handle themselves on the racetrack. It is quite something that is a Siemens National Series race that we're seeing these two. You would have thought that we would have seen this in the Cup Series. But no, Fernando Bobbin running on a very limited schedule here in the Siemens National Series. Decided to run Seekonk Speedway, and now here he is in a battle with one of his own. Russell David slowly but surely gaining ground, and now that is Damon Blue behind, but Damon Blue is a lap down car. That's not actually for position. And Russell David's amazing. He's made this many starts, and Russell David has never won a race in the NROL anywhere. Siemens Energy Skills Cup Series. And Russell David, this is the best that he's looked this whole season, at least from what I can remember. And the only one beating him happens to be his own boss. Ooh, the gap closed up a little bit that lap. They actually have a decent ground on Matthew Brown. So right now, technically, Matthew Brown is the guy leading this race. Matthew Brown, well, I mean, you say technically the guy highest of all the regulars as Matthew Brown, the highest running driver who was actually racing for points. But this is quite something. I mean, you've got two Cup drivers doing battle in a junior division with all these other young up-and-comers. It's quite something. This has definitely turned to quite the race here at Seekonk Speedway. The gap is closing, and Russell David now chasing down Frony Tobabin. This could be the battle of the century. And they're getting closer together. Russell David is gaining ground on Frony Tobabin. Man, this is quite the race. Forget Kana. You've got two very well-known drivers in this league by now, running 1-2 in a Siemens National Series race. You've got the experienced driver of Frony Tobabin and the young driver who still has a lot to learn in Russell David, but now, with 100 laps to go, still quite a bit remaining in this race, Russell David now chasing down Frony Tobabin for that lead. Ooh, lap down car coming up, Ernie Irvin. Okay, Frony Tobabin gets into Ernie Irvin. Ah, good thing we turned off damage. Frony Tobabin having to drill his way through Ernie Irvin. He's fallen back a second, and Russell David has taken the lead at Seekonk Speedway. Wow. Russell David in first. This is a pretty rare sight, but Russell David has a huge lead now on Frony Tobabin. And Frony Tobabin has actually dropped a couple of spots. Frony Tobabin has now dropped behind Matthew Brown. It's a good thing we turned off damage, otherwise that would have been race over for Frony Tobabin. Frony Tobabin having to smash his way. That's the yeah. I mean, you don't see that every day, but you know this is a very different race. You know, Seekonk Speedway. You know, it's a bit of a. It's in 2003. It's a little bit of a. How do I say it? Sprankly track. So we have to take some liberties to make sure it's a good race. Good thing we turned off damage. Man, Frony Tobabin, he's very lucky they turned off damage. Because otherwise, man, if Frony Tobabin, if we had damage turned on, that would have been race over. All that crazy battle stuff would have been over. But no, the battle continues. Sorta, kinda. And here comes Russell David now trying to get around another Tobabin driver, Hubi Lexpos not showing the best performance today, unfortunately. But at least he's in the main event, so he'll be able to score more points than some of the other guys would. Actually, 22nd. Not the best performance for Hubi Lexpos. Not sure what's going on with him, but Russell David, he's actually getting around these lap cars really well. And you know, times we've seen Russell David get taken out in a crash, a caution or whatever, but for once that is not even going to be a factor. Like I said, damage has been turned off, cars have been turned off. This will be a flag to flag race with no real consequences for crashing. And that is really playing to Russell David's favor here, as he is now pulling away from drivers behind. Matthew Brown is the next driver that can get to Russell David, but he's got a wad of lapped cars separating the two. That said though, we're still quite a ways to go in this race. This is far from over. I mean, so much has happened already in this race, but there's still so much left. Oof, I mean, Russell David runs a little bit high here, but he is at least going to, well, survive for now. Alrighty. So, a lot of laps were led by Frank Obama, but always, Russell David though. Some lap cars trying to get past him. Here comes Keyshawn Richardson trying to get around Russell David. And Matthew Brown isn't too far back either. Ooh, Russell David's got to go now. He's about to have a challenger. It's amazing. Russell David is running on a part-time schedule. Hasn't won a race. And here now he's about to be challenged by Matthew Brown, a driver who has 2 wins on the season, becoming the winningest driver in Australia. Now Russell David having like a little bit exposed on by. Here comes Matthew Brown, now trying to challenge Russell David for a lead. Matthew Brown, a series regular, now gets around Russell David. Of course, this race is far from over. We're also going to have to pick up the pace a little bit here. But Matthew Brown now to the lead at Seacon Speedway. Here comes Sebastian Coquelin, another driver who has won a race this season, trying to get past Russell David. Of course, the race is a long way from over. But you never know. Russell David now trying to hold off Sebastian Coquelin and try to get back up to Matthew Brown here. Matthew Brown likes to be on by a lap car of, ironically, another Total Motorsports car of Fubi Expo. I mean, technically, Russell David not actually racing for Total Motorsports this week. He's racing for Colleague Racing, which is still a Total Motorsports affiliate team, but not the mothership team of Total Motorsports itself. But now, Matthew Brown actually getting held up by one of those mothership Total Motorsports cars. There's gonna be a bit of a chance for Russell David to catch up. And he'll be Lexipulse being sent high. Matthew Brown trying to get around him here. Russell David doing pretty well here at staying in front of Sebastian Coquelin. Okay, so you may be wondering why we've done this little jump cut here. And why we're hearing, well, in that recording that you just saw before I cut to this, later on the race became a bit of a mess. Because for some reason, the tire wear thing is completely broken for these cars. And they decided to pit on the lap, the flash following the place where I cut, and it just turned to a complete disaster because pit lane is not big enough to fit all these cars. So the race unfortunately wound up being a disaster. So we have had to come in and do this in a bit of a fashion that we didn't really expect to do. So what we're doing here is that we brought the cars and we're going to line them up once again. And so what we're going to be doing here is essentially we're going to be breaking up the race in bits. So that first 75 laps, that counted for a thing. But due to some weird stuff, and due to us needing to get this race completed, we're going to be doing something a bit interesting. So what we've done here is so this can be 50 laps, but this is only a sprint. So what we're going to do here is this is going to be basically a part of the race. So this 50 lap section here. So what we're going to do here with these 50 laps is we're going to race, and then once we get to the end of this 50 lap race, we're going to bring the cars all back together and we're going to line them up in the exact positions where they finished at the end of this stage of the race. So instead we're doing two 50 lap stages. So we're going to run this stage, then take the results from the end of the stage, and then line them all up again, and line them up all again, and then we'll race 50 laps to the end of the race. Now, initially this race was supposed to be 150 laps, however, we're going to be adding an extra 25 laps, because with the hijinks and stuff that was happening previously, what we've had to do is, well, at least the top 10 will be lined up in the positions that they were before all the sauces came. However, everyone in the top 10 back after the top 10, those guys have had to revert to the starting positions they had at the start of this race. So, before we continue, let's now give you your starting grid for this this restart. So Matthew Brown, of course, is your leader, with Russell David in second. Then you got Fernando Bobbin in third, Sebastian on fourth, Harrison Bird in fifth, Zach Fitzwater in sixth, Zach Gregorath in seventh, Say Just Nearly in eighth, Ryan Sieg in ninth, Free McShane in 10th, Ruben Exposed in 11th, Jace Woods 12th, Anthony Alfredo 13th, DJ Reed 14th, Just Logar 15th, Jed Burton 16th, Edward 17th, Dane Blue 18th, Austin 19th, Ernest Murray 20th, Jose Mills 21st, Nathan Mont 22nd, Texas 23rd, Brandon Jones 24th, Anthony Logan 25th, No Griffin 26th, Ryan 27th, and Ernie Irvin in 28th. Okay, so of course this isn't the exact running order. Top 10 back has been reverted to where they started the race. And that's why we've added an extra 20 laps to this race, because it will allow everyone that was behind the top 10 to try to get back to where they were before all the stupidity happened. Luckily, of course, that'll be the only time that we'll do today. We have a total of 100 laps to get this thing going now. So, of course, at the end of this stage, we take the exact results from the end of the stage and then line them up in that way. And then we'll have one more stage, and that'll be the race itself going to the green flag. So, alright. So, here we go again. Pace car's about to pull off. And green flag is back in the air at Seekonk Speedway. Matthew Brown getting a bit of a jump here, and Sebastian Coquelin going to this side as well. And now it's Obama Motorsports sort of teammates. Russell David and Front Obama are getting back together, trying to battle here. And Front Obama now in the battle here with Harrison Burton. But now these two have commenced for battle. And Sebastian Coquelin has pulled out to the lead ahead of Matthew Brown. And Sebastian Coquelin now to the lead at Seekonk Speedway. Meanwhile, Frank Bobman here, who is stuck on the high line. Yeah, of course, those guys happen to be second and fourth. Not the best positions that they could have been. Of course, we didn't really see this coming, but unfortunately, because of this, they are starting to fall off like a rock now. Here comes Freya McShane, now making her way up through the pack here. And the battle for lead is now sort of gone to an extent here. Now Sebastian Coquelin, now your leader in the race. And here is Matthew Brown. And Harrison Burton, now your leader. Or now in second place. Here comes Justin Haley, driver that I really talk about very much. And Justin Haley. Oh dear. Looks like those guys on top two have fallen off like a rock. Not something that you really want to see. Oh dear. That was not a good start for Russell David. He just... Oh dear. He was up there, but unfortunately, there might be a little while to see Russell David back up here now. Well, still got quite a lot of laps to go. Anyway, so Sebastian Coquelin, now your leader. And here's Burton falling behind. Phil Nugg just filing out. Now here is Matthew Brown in third. Matthew Brown actually able to do a pretty good job here keeping his position up here. A couple previous winners up here. And here is Freya McShane trying to get it back up here. And Freya McShane, who has had possibly the worst season of all these drivers in this field, has now been able to capitalize on the restart and is now up to third place. Oh, here comes Chase Briscoe. Matthew Brown making it 3 wide for third. And Chase Briscoe moves up a spot. 2 spots, actually. Up to third place for Chase Briscoe, though. Here comes Matthew Brown going to do the crossover move. Matthew Brown not getting back around Chase Briscoe. Alright. Matthew Brown with a spot here. Now here's Texodus. And Russell David. Wow, that was fast. Russell David, he fell back, and now he's coming back. Pretty good for him. Alright. But Sebastian Coquelin starting to pull away. He's got a pretty good gap on these guys. So unfortunately, legendary battle wherever for the lead. Unfortunately, now completely split up. I mean, it was a pretty good battle. You know, some people were saying maybe we should restart this race, but that battle was just too good and too memorable to let it go to waste. So that battle, so everything that just happened wasn't a complete waste of time, of course. Of course, the field going absolutely nuts. And here comes Texas. I haven't really talked about him very much, but here's Texas moving his way up to the field. Texas is now up to third. How about that? Texas, another Tobal Motorsports driver, running well. Up to third, and Russell David, after falling like a rock on the start, Russell David is back. He's now up into fourth. And Russell David trying to get back up front. And Russell David trying not to let sausagery ruin his day. He's now catching back up to Texodus. So a couple other Top Motorsports guys. Unfortunately, Freund Bobbin has now fallen completely out of the picture. He had all those laps to start the race, but ooh, dearie me, I don't know what's going on. In fact, what is up with Freund Bobbin? Oh, he's falling back down 23rd. Oh man, he must have had a problem or something. Luckily, no problem for Russell David. That is how he is now up to 3rd. That was a pretty good gap here for 1st and 2nd. And Sebastian Coquelin, now your leader. Or still your leader. Here's Manelo's look trying to catch up. And Russell's doing pretty good in 3rd. But Sebastian Coquelin with that big lead. Yeah. Gets Greenfield now just selling down. So of course, competition caution coming out 25 laps from now. Alright, the field getting pretty quiet here now. Yeah, it feels pretty quiet actually. Oh, Matthew Brown now trying to challenge Texodus. So a bit of a battle here now for 5th. Okay, Matthew Brown now getting around Texodus. That is for 5th. Or for, yeah, it is indeed for 5th. Pretty quiet race though. Feels pretty spread out. I'm guessing that they're trying to, you know, damage turned off, so you can't get any damage, crash damage here. So, I guess feel like it's being a bit careful for some reason. Let's see if both of these keep up though. Yeah, the gap hasn't really changed. Oh, no, never mind. Took a little while there, but gap has gone a little bit wider. So Sebastian Coquelin, driver that led since the restart. I was gonna lose a little bit of ground here. Yeah. We got some battling back here. Texas. Ooh, a whole wad of cars now getting action. Here we go, 3 wide for 9th. Austin Cinder gonna make up a few spots here. And Noah Gregson moving up as well. Of course, for these drivers, this is their chance to get back to where they were. So they'll hopefully at least be in a better position and then be ready for the final restart. Spectacle though pulling away. Yeah, the one getting around Austin Murray. I would say though, this has been one of Russell David's best performances in a Siemens Nationals race. Last time he actually did this good was way back in Las Vegas. And it may not seem like it, but Russell David has made a start in every single Siemens Nationals race so far. Of course, he can't win all the races. Russell David will be running every race up until the playoffs begin. That's when Cup drivers won't be allowed anymore. But Sebastian Coquelin doing a pretty good job at staying ahead of Harrison Burton. In fact, the inside line has actually become the preferred lane here, so if Sebastian Coquelin wins the stage, he'll be on the pole for the final restart, which could help him out big time. Alright, so 10 laps to go into the competition caution. Harrison Burton, he's trying to gain. I don't know, he lost a couple tenths of a second that time. Or hundredths of a second, I mean. That may not seem like much, but in the world of motorsports, that's a decently sized gap. Man, Harrison Burton, he's going to be stuck on the outside lane once the restart happens, so perhaps maybe wants to get there a little bit faster. But no, Sebastian Coquelin, he's another one trying to go get a second win on the season. Let's get about some lap traffic. This might change the race, or at least this part of the race. 6 laps to go in this stage. Spectacle on leads, but it's coming up on those lapped cars. Oh man, he's staying ahead of Harrison Burton pretty well, but he's got those lap cars. Will they come into effect though in the next few laps? 4 laps to go. It's getting close to Anthony Logan. 3 laps to go. Remember, this is the race until the competition caution, not the race itself. 2 laps to go. 2 laps forces Sebastian Coquelin to stay in front of Harrison Burton. And 1 more lap to go. Yeah, Sebastian Coquelin doing a pretty good job of staying ahead of Harrison Burton here. I wonder what happened later. And Sebastian Coquelin come first in this stage. And there you have it. Yeah, essentially stage number 2 of this race that is now being split in 3 parts. Alright, so now with that complete, now it's time to line them up again, and then we will race to the finish. Here we go, cars are roaring back to life. Time for the final stage of this race. It's kind of insane. We don't usually split races in in fact, we never split races into multiple parts, but it's what we're having to do today due to some circumstances that we weren't really expecting. But now it is time to do battle. Time to go to the end of the race, and green flag is back in the air at Seekonk Speedway. This is now the race to the end. Sebastian Coquelin in the leads, and here comes Russell David with the surge underneath him. Russell David has to overcome quite a bit of stuff today. You know, he fell all the way back down, but then he came all the way back up. And now Russell David taking advantage of the restart to take the lead at Seekonk Speedway. Now Russell David now has to do is just to pull away. And Russell David, he's usually not the best driver, but today he's actually been able to master the events of the race in ways that he never had to do before. Maybe that's why he's done so well. Russell David out to the lead, but he's got some fierce competition behind him. Chase Briscoe, Jose Mills, and Texas not too far behind. And Jose Mills going to go beneath Chase Briscoe for second. And Jose Mills now trying to chase down Russell David for the lead. And here comes Texodus. The race is on, but Russell David just has to pull away and lead all the remaining laps for this race. Jose Mills, an NROL driver, not very well known, now trying to chase down Russell David. And Texas is well doing the same. Texas, he's been around for quite a while actually, and yet Texas has been able to win a race. And here goes Texas going underneath Jose Mills. And Texodus now gets into second place. And now the battle ensues. And ironically, Russell's main number is the 124 car. So funny enough, Russell's car is now the one that's chasing him for the win. But here comes Chase Briscoe. But Russell David having to do what Sebastian Coquelin did in the previous stage. Lead all the laps. But this race is really heating up now. Texas in a second. Here comes Chase Briscoe trying to overtake him for second place as well. This is exactly what Russell needs. He needs drivers behind him to battle, and they will lose ground. And Chase Briscoe going to get around Texodus. And Chase Briscoe now in a second at Seekonk. Ooh, Chase Briscoe had a final line to the corner there. Russell David, though, he is trying so hard to win his first race. Ooh, Chase Briscoe, though. Chase Briscoe is not far behind. The field behind them, though, is, however, getting to quite a distance. But the top two now starting to pull away. And Chase Briscoe as well, looking for his first win in the NROL Siemens Nash Series. Chase Briscoe ran part-time last season. He's running full-time this season. In contention for the championship, or trying to contend for the championship. He was up there early in the season. And Chase Briscoe now having to try to chase down Russell David. A couple of young drivers now going to battle. And Russell David's going to have to be a bit careful here. Oh, he's letting him go. Or something, I don't know. Chase Briscoe, though. Chase Briscoe, there he goes underneath Russell David. Russell David's going to have to fight back. He still has a number of laps left to go. So it's not over yet. But Chase Briscoe now to lead Seekonk Speedway. And Russell David now will try to pull for the crossover move. This battle is still on. This is it. And Russell David takes the final line through that corner there. It's come down to this. Chase Briscoe leads, but now Russell David the one taking the final lines. So, anything can happen. For now, I don't know what's going on with him. He just can't, ever since the restart, he just can't seem to have recovered. But now it is Chase Briscoe and Russell David. Chase Briscoe is starting to pull away a little bit. Man, Russell David, he doesn't want to let this go now. All of the sausage that has occurred. And Russell David really doesn't want to come one spot short of a win. Now, sure, this is the Siemens Nash race, so a win doesn't really count towards anything in the championship. But that is okay for Russell. He's not here for points. He's here for the experience. And he is now trying to chase down Chase Briscoe. Chasing Chase Briscoe. Yeah, that's something I didn't think I would say. Alright, less than 30 laps to go. There's still plenty of time. Russell David has to pounce. He cannot wait. The gap is staying the same. They might have to rely on lap traffic instead. There's no lap traffic for a little while. So I don't know what's going to happen here. What is Russell David going to have to rely on? Will he even be able to rely on anything? Oh, he made up a couple seconds though, so Russell David trying to catch back up a little bit. Russell David starting to take the final line now. And the gap closes again a little bit more. 25 laps to go in the race. Is the gap going to close up here? Oh no, it lengthens. 4/100ths of a second is the gap. This isn't quite what Russell David was looking for. Man, this is quite a good battle for the lead, though. It wasn't legendary battle with Frank Development up here, but you know what? Maybe that's for the best. Maybe it's for the best that we don't have an established veteran. Instead, we've got a couple up-and-comers. And the gap really loosens up that time. Another 20 laps left to go. Well, technically 21. Might be enough time for Chase Briscoe to catch up to lap traffic. The gap closes up that time. This race, though, is not over. 20 laps to go at Seekonk Speedway. Man, this is quite something. Oh, man, the gap lengthens up again, though. Man, this isn't like the truck race. It's the truck race. They were battling each other throughout the whole race. This race, it seems tires just can't hold up properly, and the field gets a lot more strung out. It seemed back when they had better tires in the start of the race, Chase Briscoe was able to get around David pretty easily. But now it's hard for Russell David to actually get back up to Chase Briscoe and make the overtake back again. I'm not even sure if we're going to be able to rely on the lap traffic. You know, Hubilik supposed to get his first win, though. He relied on some last lap sorcery to win the race. Maybe Russell David might have to rely on the same, as Chase Briscoe is not slowing down. "14 laps to go. The gap seems to now be inconsistently going. It's bigger and then it's smaller, then it's bigger. But unfortunately, it might be a little bit too big for Russell David to overcome. Unless Chase Briscoe makes a horrible mistake or he gets caught up in lap traffic, the race might be over. Chase Briscoe might have this one in the bag. Now, that being said, however, if Russell David can come back tomorrow in the Cup Series race and do this well tomorrow, then it might not matter so much. As tomorrow's Cup race, luckily we've done some testing a little bit on that during the break. So the Cup race should be a better one tomorrow. The Siemens Nationals race at this point has become just more of a race for the fans at this point rather than a fair contest. That's not to say it's unfair, but you know, the creative liberties that it takes to not let the first battle go to waste. Unfortunately, it has gone to waste for Freund Bob, and as he has fallen all the way back down. Luckily for Russell David, though, he's been able to be consistent today. But with less than 10 laps to go, it looks like Chase Briscoe is ultimately going to be the dominator today. Chase Briscoe, who was hyping points at the start of the season, but then he fell back. He's fallen back quite a bit, and now he's quite a ways outside of the playoff bubble. But this race could turn that around. Chase Briscoe could win this race and turn that around, and he's pulling for Russell David. It looks like this race for the lead might be over. There is lap traffic not too far on the front, but it looks like these guys will not be able to get to lap traffic in time before the checkered flag comes out. And Russell David, who has put up one of the best performances of his entire career, is going to come up one position short of the victory, as Chase Briscoe, a driver who is actually racing for points, has been able to overcome many things today to get to this point. 4 laps to go at Seekonk Speedway. Chase Briscoe, the full-time rookie competing for a championship. He's been able to put quite a gap between him and Russell David. This gap has not really closed up. In fact, it's grown more and more as the race progresses. Russell David is falling back more, but Chase Briscoe, his pace seems to be staying consistent. 2 laps to go. There is lap traffic, but it doesn't look like the lap traffic is really going to play into effect here. Unless there's some kind of crash, which they have, as Chase Briscoe comes to the white flag. It doesn't look like much is going to happen here. Chase Briscoe has pretty much has it in the bag. And off of turn number 4, Chase Briscoe will overcome the sorcery of the race to win the Everett Auto Parts 400 at Seekonk Speedway. Wow. So Chase Briscoe ultimately did it all. Perhaps that wasn't the best thing in the world as far as the race stuff. I mean, it was a good battle. It was quite an interesting battle between Freund and Russell David, but unfortunately that fizzled out when the whole hijinks ensued, and Freund could just never recover after the restart after that, and then he couldn't quite recover after this restart either. I mean, he did come up to the field again, but unfortunately just wasn't able to seal the deal. And Russell David as well. This was honestly his best performance of his entire career. But unfortunately, after all that, is going to come out one position short. But Russell David could possibly take what he learned today and apply it to tomorrow's Cup Series race. Now, it will be interesting to see how that goes. But, of course, that is tomorrow. But that is going to do it for today's race. So, to give you your official standings, so Chase Briscoe comes home with the win. Russell David second, Justin Allgaier at third, DJ Reed fourth. Actually, Justin Allgaier, another one, has been having a very trash season. comes up with a good finish for once. DG comes up in 4th. Anthony Logan 5th. Jose Mills 6th. DG another one. A lot of guys usually have bad days, having good days. Okay, Anthony Logan comes up in 5th. Jose Mills 6th. Dame Blue 7th. Texas 8th. Jacob Fitzwater Sr. 9th. Ernie Irvin 10th. Austin Murray 11th. Foreign Bob on 12th. Jeb Burton 13th. Justin Haley 14th. Austin Cindric 15th. Harris Burton 16th. Nathan Bond 17th. Riley Herbst 18th. Greg Graff 19th. Anthony Alfredo 20th. Ryan T 21st. Noah Grace 22nd. Sebastian Coquelin 23rd. Wow, he fell back. Huberlex Plus 24th. Matthew Brown 25th. Brandon Jones 26th. Edward 27th. And Freeman McShane in 28th. Well, now, that's it for Take Speed 1 the Siemens Nash Series. We got one more race to come on to the weekend. Hopefully, it'll be less of a stupid race than this one, and we'll actually be able to have a race all the way flag to flag. But for some reason, the Siemens Nash Series cars don't quite work so well with Take Speedway, but it happens sometimes. But that's all for today. Hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. And I will see you in whatever I make next.